Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Looks pretty good to me. Hey, I don't like this angle though. I take it easy. Let's check that. Let's check that. Music down. We are live. Welcome, folks. Welcome, folks. Welcome, folks. Oh, a lovely Sunday morning. And today we're going to work on some design stuff, 3D design stuff. Because I've got a drop effect Next G Hotend. So this is the Hotend that I've been running in my Voron 2.4. However, I want to remix. This is a little out of focus, I feel like. Okay, I want to remix this a little bit to accept the, well, it's apart. Let's put it together real quick so I can show you properly. I took it apart to measure some stuff. Do you have an ability to show keystrokes on stream? That would be a good idea. I don't know that I currently do. If anybody has a suggestion of how to do that, I am open to it. I would like that. I don't know how. Maybe we could set that up quick, but I don't know. All right, let's get that. There. Okay. So what I've been running for the longest time is the drop effect Next G. You can call the search party. I'm here. Welcome. How did it go with the pupper? Pupper, so far so good. The pupper will stop in soon to say hi. So I've been running this drop effect Next G Hotend, but I've been running this square frame unit, which is a beta unit. I've got a couple of them, but they're beta units. They're not available for sale. I use OBS for streaming, so I'll search for it in a second. There probably is a plugin for that. Whether I can add it right now or not, I don't know, but we'll find out. So I've been using these square frame versions, which you can't buy. So I've been happy with this, but I want to remix this toolhead to accept the dragon frame version that is available for sale. So this is what you can actually buy of the Next G. It's ever so slightly longer and bigger heatsink. So I want to remix this Stealthburner housing to accept the retail version of the Next G, so that if I talk about using the Next G, you folks can actually get what I'm talking about. I can actually release the design. I've been unable to release this design so far because you can't buy it, so why would I release it? It is not the Next G fiber. It's just the plain Next G, which doesn't really mean anything different to me. I don't print with fiber fill materials that much. If I find I'm going to start doing so, I can always replace it with the fiber version. All the fiber version is just a hardened, I think a hardened and coated heat break. So, to my knowledge, that's the only difference. Keystroke. How to keyviz. Option to highlight mouse cursor and clicks. Highlight mark keyviz. Let's see if I can get this going quick. Somebody asked about having the ability to highlight keystrokes and stuff while streaming, and I do want to do that if I can. Windows install. This looks like it might do it. Oh, it's in the Microsoft Store. So, Microsoft Store. Boom. All right, let's see if we can get this going quick. Keyviz. Because all I do is capture screen, so if this functions on screen, it should work. Get it? All right, maybe this will work. And it's not even an OBS plugin, so it should just work. We'll find out. Launch Keyviz. I think it just launched. All right, we got mouse cursor. Of course. Control works, but not Shift, which Shift is the thing I use the most. So let me jump in and check settings if I can on this. Cool. It's one of those apps that doesn't really open anything. Oh, I got it running twice now. Settings. No, don't ignore anything. Skip any keystrokes starting with the disabled modifier. Nope, we're not skipping anything. Why are you not? All right, I think this should work. Let me turn this on. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in, Vinny. I'm just checking. Yes, cool. All right. I'm just checking to ensure that damn it. Nope. It works with shift control, but not like regular keyboard keys. This one might not do it. It only really seems to show like modifiers, shift, control. I need it to show like letter keys because I use hotkeys a lot. F for fillets, G for chamfers. So like those are functions I would like to have. If anybody knows of a way to highlight keystrokes on a stream, love to hear it. I don't know if this one's going to be it. Input overlay? All right. That sounds like a promising one. Input overlay, OBS. Input overlay. All right. All right. That potential. Oh, there's a whole configuration tool. It's mostly meant for like WASD playing. No space mouse. No, I don't have a space mouse. Don't have a space mouse. I have a space mouse, like a small one they sent me. 3D Connection sent me. Never used it. Keyboard cam. Oh, you mean actually set up a keyboard camera? No board. Free and easy to use without any fancy graphics. Easy capturable. Chroma key. What do you do? This person goes, this whole thing is like, the one that I'm looking at, well, here, I can share this screen. No board. I know certain applications already exist to do this. Display your keyboard on screen. Okay, there. Like at first it was like it didn't explain what it did. Corona update. It hasn't been updated since 2020. Installing random GitHub stuff while on stream. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? I know, once you start using a space mouse, you'll love it. Part of why I don't use a space mouse is I want to be in touch with the way most people use Fusion in my audience, not necessarily engineers. So like, I really should try one, but it's that factor. Fix the outline with, how do I install this? Steve Builds, welcome in. Steve's going live to work on his salad fork again this morning, I do believe. So I'm only gonna be streaming till like 11 at the latest. So y'all can raid over to Steve once we wrap up here. Installation. Package manager? No, I'm not jumping into. All right. Input overlay? No. Simple keystroke overlay. Keyviz only shows. Steve, you're here. Have you ever used a keyboard overlay tool in Fusion? I want to jump into Fusion and get to designing. Some folks asked to have keyboard overlays. I would love to enable that. I'm not seeing a good one at the moment. Each one I'm finding is like, this one's only intended for gaming, so it only has like WASD. This one only shows like shift and control. It doesn't show any other keys. Yeah, all right. Input overlay. Yeah, that's the one I already looked at. Let's see if this one can be set up differently. What about the on-screen keyboard from Windows? Good call. Does that highlight keys when applied? Let's check it out. Settings, Windows settings. On screen? No. Windows, your search is terrible. Shock and awe. Ease. Sticky keys, on-screen keyboard. Here we go. On-screen keyboard. Oh, that's probably not going to be good. Let me try and stick this. First things first, I got to stick it top. Oh, okay, it is. Yeah, same thing. It doesn't show. The only keystrokes it shows is shift and control. It doesn't show any of the letter keys. I'm going to have to work on this for a future video, I think. Keyboard cam keeps getting more and more, yeah. There are some designed for tutorial types that might be paid. I'm fine with paid, but they're not showing up when I Google it, is the problem. And I don't have time to spend a bunch of like circling around. So, input overlay has full keyboard. Okay, I had to open that. That was one I opened before. The problem is each of these is only showing, maybe it's something to do with my Logitech keyboard. They're not showing anything but shift and control. That's it, which I use in Fusion, but not, it's not what I want. All right, this is the last one we're trying. I got input overlay for OBS, I believe. Input overlay, install, finish. All right. Last one, then we need to get rolling with this. Okay, so there is a full keyboard. Installation. I installed it. You need the Debian install. No, I don't. Blah, blah, blah. Plugins. Where are plugins in OBS? It's been a while since I've added any new plugins, so I'm not seeing anything. Might have to reboot. I wouldn't be shocked if I had to reboot. OBS. This is a boring intro to a video, or a stream. Sorry, but it is a good idea. Doesn't look like we're gonna get it though. I installed it, but it's just not showing up in OBS. I'm sure it would if I reboot OBS, but then we lose the stream. So, what's printing in the background? Parts for the video that should have been out yesterday. So, some new video coming very soon. Maybe it's an input overlay. Okay, let me check something quick. Did it just install. No. Yeah, it doesn't show up. Tools, input overlay. Yeah. It's not there because I need to reboot. So, not going to happen. All right, next stream, unfortunately. We tried. 20-minute round and round, but we tried. One thing, though, very important. I'm going to call in reinforcements. Let's get the dog coming in. All right, noodle requested. Okay, let's actually get to this. All right, I just want to have chat pulled up in front of me here because we're going to be switching to a window. As you can see everything at the moment because I still haven't set up my stream deck that's been here. Sorry for the flash, but here is what we're working with. Well, at least we get it showing you that I'm shift and dragging. That's something. This is the toolhead that I had in my machine. Wrong one. Where is it? This is the... No, this isn't. Not this one. That's the dragon. Okay, this is the Hotend that I've had in my machine. This is it. The drop effect next G. So you can see it's got a tiny little frame and heatsink, heat break assembly, and then this big old high flow adapter setup. That's the one that I've had in my machine. Here it is kind of compared to a Rapido. So you can see it's just ever so slightly longer of a melt zone than the Rapido. Let's measure it. Good morning, Bob. So the melt zone on the next G with the UHF, the ultra high flow add-on, is 35 millimeters from nozzle tip to end of the heat break, or to, well, the beginning of the heat break, really. And then the Rapido, regular Rapido, not UHF, nope, is 25. So it's 10 millimeters longer. 10 millimeters longer than a regular Rapido. And it fits into a very similar footprint. That's not what I wanted. I want to measure the high flow adapter. Ultra high. Yeah, that's 9 millimeters. So it's even longer. It's even longer than the UHF version of the Rapido. So the old XG looks cool. Shame they got rid of the square frame. I agree. It is a shame they got rid of the square frame, and that's why we're doing this right now. I've been running a square frame. The beta units of the Next G came with a square frame like this. The beta units had that. They decided not to release the beta units. So what they released is this, the Dragon frame version. So it looks like a Dragon frame. It's ever so slightly longer than the regular square frame one, and it's the biggest problem with it is this corner. Because of his chamfered corner on the square frame, it fit better into the Stealthburner. We're gonna see what the problem is with that as we get into here, but this is the reason. This is the one they released. So, yeah, Brian, if you could come up with a keyboard visualizer, I would love it. I just realized my camera overlay is not on. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Select my camera overlay. There we go. Let's move that to the corner. Boom. Thoughts on Box Turtle? I'm going to build one. I assume the side screw holes would give you better shaper results. Quite possibly. I don't know. Never tested that because the way I used it is I did use it with the top screw holes, not the side. I used it with the top, but I could see that being the case, sure. Could also make it a little more compact package because you could have the extruder closer to the top. The problem with the square frame, the reason they didn't release the square frame is, I really got to get my freaking stream deck set up. The reason they didn't release the square frame is heat creep. They found when printing PLA, I think it's down to the fact that it comes with a 20 millimeter fan, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it comes with a 20 millimeter fan on it that's awful sounding. It would heat creep with the square frame. And the Dragon frame version cools just ever so slightly better so that it doesn't heat creep. Now, personally, I rarely print PLA with my Voron, so it hasn't really been a problem. I've had like one heat creep issue. Also, because it's in a Stealthburner, I have a 40 millimeter fan cooling it too. But go in DH, welcome in. But they didn't release it, doesn't matter. So, tried the Dragon Ace from Triangle Lab. I have not. I've seen it, never picked one up. I'm always hesitant about Triangle Lab because Triangle Lab, I don't know this for sure. I don't know the inside baseball of it, but it seems like Triangle Lab is where Fadus sells second run products, is my guess. Or it's an offshoot company that, you know, the lower tier products go to, is what it seems like to me. And as much as anything, Triangle Lab seems to rotate through products too quickly for me, where like they'll release a new design and then 2 months later they'll release another new design, and then I go to look for the last one and I can't find the last one. Like they seem to continually release and discontinue products until one hits. And I don't like that. Like, I'm all for innovating and coming out with a new design, but it feels like Triangle Lab is constantly throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, which isn't great if I'm trying to like release a design and then a day after I release the design, the product's not even available anymore. Yeah. So here is the Stealthburner housing that we've got. Let's capture design history right now. So here's the Stealthburner housing, the Rapido version. So this is the Rapido V2 version that I'm going to start with. And I'm going to bring in, you can see a little bit of my file management here. So this is my 3D printer build section of Fusion, where I just have all the files I might need for a project. I try to have like a bit of everything. So I've got a whole Hotends category in here, folder. Going into here, I've got drop effect. And then I've got the NextG UHF, NextG with UHF adapter, insert into current design. So that brings it in. I'm gonna move it down so it's out of the way. Now what I wanna do when I'm working on a project like this, where I'm gonna be fitting a Hotend in place where it wasn't before, what I wanna do is line it up with the existing nozzle. So the Rapido is already in position here. I know where that needs to be, so I'm going to measure from the tip of the one nozzle to the tip of the other. Great, 61.3 millimeters. That means that I need to move the NextG up 61.3 millimeters to be at the same nozzle height. Boop, there we go. Now I'm going to hide the Rapido, so I don't really need it anymore. And then we're going to come from the top view. Oh, that does not look like it's aligned. You can see this is ever so slightly out of alignment with the bore. Iconic Fab, welcome in. What are your thoughts of a new Creality printer? Don't know. I don't have one, so don't have one, haven't used it. I've heard mixed things about it so far, but I don't really, I have no personal experience to say. You're talking about the K2 Plus, yeah? Okay, let's hide the housing here. Oh, I hear somebody coming in. Well, we got a noodle delivery. Breaking news, folks. Breaking news. Oh,
She was sleeping.
oh, you were snoozling. You were snoozling. Oh yeah. Everybody, this is Nori. Nori the noodle. Were you sleeping? Yeah. You're blending in with that shirt. Let's make this window bigger. Zoom in digitally here. Yeah. Just a moment.
Because she will let you work with you just holding her.
Well, let's see how long she hangs out then.
See how long you can work one-handed.
We'll figure this out. Yeah.
I need to go get work done, so let me know.
Okay, you do you.
Okay.
All right. This is Nori the Noodle, folks. So our new Dachshund Poodle mix pup that we got yesterday. She's been with us not even 24 hours yet. Not even 24 hours yet. Shiny new. Does Fusion still have AutoCAD's UCS? Use coordinate alignment to compare. There's a handful of ways that I can compare the positioning between objects. I just prefer alignment. It really makes it quick and easy to snap things to place, but you got her. Yeah, we got her. She came in yesterday and we couldn't, for the new puppy fund. Thank you, Andrew Rogers, for the super chat. So yeah, Nori the Noodle. She's a sweetheart. She slept through the night too. Don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but she slept through the night. Let's see, can this camera catch her? A little bit. Nori the Noodle. Zoom out a little. Transform, fit to screen. What do the others think? The other housemates. So far, Domino, which our biggest hope was that Domino, our older dog, would kind of like get a little puppy fever, kind of wake up thing going on. Don't step on the keyboard, please. Here, let's move that. So Domino is unsure right now. The cat's also unsure. Basically, don't chew on a hot end. Everybody's unsure. So far, she hasn't even been here 24 hours. We're going to give it some time. But she is an absolute sweetheart, a ball of energy. Don't chew on hot ends. And definitely a chewer. Definitely a chewer. Yeah. So, how much does this beautiful little puppy weigh? 4.5 pounds. She is 4.5 pounds. She's a Dachshund Poodle mix. So she's got a little bit of Dachshund length in her, but she's kind of a wiry, soft fur. Don't chew on a Capricorn tube either. Half the way to Felix and Oscar right now. Yeah, she's a toot thing. But we're expecting her to get, I don't know. The rescue thinks that she'll get to like 12 pounds. I think she's probably going to be closer to 20. Puppy stream is all, the puppy came in, that's all we got. Yeah. What were we doing? Nothing. Nothing important. Think you should rotate the hot ends so the heater and thermistor are on the same side as the original? Yeah, Neuro, we're gonna rotate. We're gonna reposition the hot end a fair bit yet. I just got distracted. So, yeah. Nori the Noodle. A little brindle, very brown, and she looks browner on camera, I think, than she does in person. She's blacker in person. But we'll see. Hope Nori avoids the forbidden kibble. Yeah, me too. So, luckily, I think we've worked that out with Domino, with putting the litter boxes into closet and such. So, she's probably not going to be in the studio a lot because, as you can already see, she's getting in trouble trying to chew on things. So, I ordered a pen. I ordered a pen on Amazon. Should be here today. So, I'll set up a pen here in the studio so she can hang out with me, but be contained and only have her own toys and a bed or whatever. So you're not going to chew on hot ends. Okay. Where were we at? Back to... That's not what I want. Back to this. Okay. I need my keyboard, Nori. Sorry. I need my keyboard. Okay. No, that's not what I wanted. I don't want the combine tool. I want the align tool. Align, hot end. I'm going to go off the bore, like where the Bowden tube comes in to this. That's the best point to align to. And I'm going to hide the hot end real quick so I can align it to this bore. Actually, did that end up? Okay. Let's check it. Make sure it lined up. It's upside down. Flip it. I don't know why Fusion is doing that now. Like it's always upside down. Okay. Now we are aligned. No tea, please. No herbal tea. No herbal tea. No. But I want it. Okay. Where are you going? No, you're not having tea. Nor alcohol. You're way too young for that. You're 3 months old. Okay, now let's look. No monster either. Oh, this is gonna go great. Let's see if he can sit in my lap. You likely just changed nozzle position. Yes, Steve, I do realize. I'm going to double check the nozzle position. So, okay. So let's bring back the Rapido so we can measure off of that and check. It looks like yep, it looks like we're up ever so slightly. So let's hide the Rapido and measure, boom, 0.2 millimeter difference. Not bad. I'm kind of surprised. That means I can move the next G back down 0.2 millimeter. Boop. Negative 0.2. And from a top perspective, now we're aligned with the bore here, exactly what I wanted. Now I'm going to use the move function, which is set on component right now, so I can grab the hot end, and I'm going to rotate for the heater and thermistor wires to be in a better position. I have mine currently like this on my 2.4, but it gives this really harsh angle to the wires. Thank you for stepping on the keyboard. Very helpful. It gives this really harsh angle to the wires coming up through here. But I don't know if I want to angle it more this way. I don't know. This is kind of how the Rapido is like this. That's a nitrile glove, not a toy. Speaking from experience, tea makes dogs... Oh, what did we close? Not Fusion nor OBS. Okay. I can't decide if I want to do this. I can almost align this to the Rapido mount. Man, it's almost ready to use the Rapido mounting. It's not 100%. You can see it's not 100% accurate. So I would still modify this, but I think I'm going to go with the Rapido alignment rotation. Anybody have any thoughts? Almost as bad as herding cats. Yeah, almost. I'm going to look at this real quick. Trying to look at this hot end and get a thought of whether or not I want to rotate this any differently. See, I'm going to get a closer view on camera. Quick, let's zoom. I got you. Because currently how I have this, I'm going to digitally zoom now. Currently how I have this is the thermistor is running back there, and I really bent the heater wires to make it around here. She's okay. She's right in my lap.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Are you going to do this?
I'll try. She's getting into things, but I'll
take her now.
Okay. Okay. Ruby's gonna take a Nori the noodle back, so we don't get a troublemaker on us. So, all right. Here we go, baby. Okay. Yes, it is a very harsh angle on here. So, I had to bend the wires to fit it in here like this. Way harsher than I care for. I like the pointing straight forward, so you don't have to do anything. Okay. That's an interesting idea, Steve. Let me kind of mock this up here. So you're saying come this way? What's your opinion on cheap Chinese 4.2 kits? I've not used any of them. I've only used LDO kits for 2.4s. That's not a bad idea, Steve. Not a bad idea at all. Let me rotate this. I can rotate it in position and at least get it. That's a good idea. It's not going to be, well, let's rotate it on here. I think I can get a straight shot at this, but I gotta rotate it on the mount. Dogs away, I'm out. Yeah, I know. Formbot kit is good. I have no experience with Formbot kit, with the Physec kit. I built a Physec 0.2. That was solid overall. What are people using to manage multiple printers? Recently gifted a second printer, and it'd be cool to run both off the same RP. Well, you can run multiple printers off of one RPi. You can, okay, how do you rotate this? I forget. There's a way to rotate this. I think I need to remove the heat break. Pretty sure I need to remove the heat break. I went away from RPis for, no, that didn't do it. Dang it, there is a way to do this. I've done it. I did it on this one. I clocked the rotation. How was it? See, there's a kinematic mount on this. This is so hard to see. I need a better close-up angle for streams. Let me try and get a little closer with this camera quick. Doesn't help this is my older camera that's a little not quite as good. But yeah, you can run multiple printers on like Clipper on a single RPi. It is doable. And you can do it with thin clients. You can do it with you know, small computers. I've done it with a netbook in the past, a tiny little old laptop. All right, let's see if that got any better. Oh, now focus is funky. Okay. So there's a kinematic mount on here. I need to get that off so I can rotate the position of the tool head, or the heater wires. What about, only thin clients? What about fat ones? I mean, you could run a fat client if you want. Run a 3090 powered Clipper instance. Why not? Besides the cost and power draw. Why are we client shaming? Yeah. Okay. I need to rotate this. I know I can rotate this, but how? Maybe this? Yep. All right, that's a nut. I forgot that that's a nut. There we go. That's better. Okay. Yeah, at no point is it like a straight shot, but I've been looking into FDM Monster. It's an Octofarm fork still being worked on. Yes, one of the folks related to FDM Monster is in my Discord and has been talking about it, and I really want to give it a try because I really want to have one interface to manage my little farm here. Not that I really run it like a farm, but I want to be able to manage all my printers from one interface. Okay, the best I can do on a straight shot is ever so slightly to the one side. It's not a straight shot, but it's close. Tighten this back down. Okay. Heatsink back on. I'll put a little thermal paste on this heatsink quick. While I've got this apart. Oh, Maurice, there we go. Maurice is the one who's involved with Monster, or FDM Monster. Yes, Maurice is the one who's related with FDM Monster. What's up, nerd? Welcome in. As I knock the Hotend off the table. Nomad, you missed Nori, man. You missed Nori. All right, a little bit of Slice Engineering thermal paste on here. The boron nitride paste on this heat break where the heat sink's going to go to it. A little dry. It's getting a little dry on me from being open. All right, tighten down. All right, tighten this back on here. All right, now I can put this back into this heatsink. I want it in this heatsink. I have the the beta unit came with a ring heater. Oh, Nomad, you have keyboard overlays on your stream? Some folks were asking for keyboard overlays since we're in Fusion, but I don't have anything set up. Input? There's a couple ways this can be clocked on here. Well, 2 ways. I'm going to check this. I'm dizzy now. Too many questions. So much going on. Somebody asked you, do you run keyboard overlays in your stream? Because I would like to add keyboard overlays so folks can see what keys I'm pressing, like keystrokes in Fusion. Okay. All right, that's better. Okay, so the beta unit came with this circular ceramic heater. I really need to replace this camera. It's a Streamlabs plugin. Likely works with OBS. Okay. Don't forget to disable when typing your password. Well, I don't type my password on stream anyway, so. But yeah. So the beta unit had this circular ceramic heater, kind of like an original Rapido or a Revo. And then the release version, the actual unit you can buy, comes with a flat plate ceramic heater and a slightly thinner heater block. So I deleted a stream because of it. Oh boy, Nomad. Oh boy. So, okay. Now we got that worked out. Let me fit the screen again. Okay, that's that straightened out-ish. Put the silicone socket's full of gunk. Whew, there's junk inside of this thing. I wonder if it's silicone sock degrading. It looks like a black junk. It's either filament or silicone sock degrading crap. Sock looks okay as best I can tell. Yeah, no, it was filament. It's filament gunk. That guy makes, hello. All right, put this back on here just so I have a good visualization of this in my hand when I'm considering my options here. Okay, so Steve's idea was for this to be, our cables to be facing forward, so we don't have to make a harsh turn. right out of the hot end. That works. That works really well, Steve. Thank you for that idea. That was a great one. So, forget the printer. I want to see the puppy. The puppy was here already, Delta. You missed it. You missed it, Rich. Okay, so Steve's idea was this. This is the front of the Stealthburner housing. So mount it like this so that the wires face forward, and then they have some room to make a turnaround and head back up. Do that with Revo setups. I'll have to remember that. Thank you, Steve. Cool. Yeah, I forgot there's so much room at the front of this, but that works really well. Cool. Cool. All right, we'll go with that. So, back into Fusion now. That's the wrong window. This one. All right. Now, I want to rotate this so that the wires face forward. From top view, and rotate so they're straight forward. 135 degrees, it looks like, from my previous position. Oh, wow. Holes are nowhere near aligned now. Uh-oh. That's the only problem is where do those holes fall? If they're falling right here, 2 of them, that's not great. I can't tell. I'm going to hide this front. Oh, nope. It's close. This one is close, but it's not there. So I think we're good. All right. Now, here's the fun part of this. The proximity of this corner to this opening, or to this screw hole. The wall gets real thin between there. And it's why I didn't use the Dragon frame previously. It's under 2 extrusion widths between the 2. I thought it was worse than that, but it seems like it's not. So, yay. I want to triple check this. I feel like something's wrong here. I've done this a couple of times, and the Rapido ended up in a different position previously. Let me hide one of these so I can check the Rapido's position. No, the Rapido is right where it should be. Maybe? All right, boop. Yeah, the Rapido is right where it should be. Okay. Cool. All right, hide the Rapido, bring back the next G. Now it's time to start hacking away on this thing. So, what I'm going to start with is eliminating these holes. I'm going to get rid of the stuff I know I'm not going to use. Because, well, I'm not going to use it. We're going to be starting fresh with new holes, new positions. I'm also going to hide, or well, get rid of the text on top of here. We'll bring that back once everything else is worked out. I'm just going to extrude that up to meet the surface. Now that's gone. So we have a blank slate on top now. What's the cost of Fusion? Looks like it's easier to use than the free software I'm using. It is free for hobbyists. Fusion is free for hobbyists. So, yeah. Now you just need some zip ties to keep it all tight. Yeah. And it has a strain relief on there, so I'll be able to zip tie to the strain relief. So. Yeah, Fusion has a free hobby version. It's a little limited, not a lot. There's a little bit of limitation to it. You might find some of the, I forget what the limitations are. It's been so long. I know they've changed since I started paying for it. I pay for it with a commercial license as it's part of my business, and technically I should. And also, I know if you're going to use it with CNC, like the cam functionality, say to use with my Milo. With the Milo, I moved it over there. You need the paid version. Fusion is like $400 a year if you get the paid version. Not cheap, but in the world of CAD software, that's also not that bad, I don't think. Max 10 files that you can work on before you need to turn one off. That's a new limitation. That didn't exist when I was using the free version. The only time I've run into limitations with it, with what I do with Fusion, is when I use it with importing 3D scans. Yeah, I know meshes are limited with, but meshes in Fusion are bad. Fusion handles meshes horribly. So that's a thing. I just did an AutoCAD license for a customer, $1,800 per year per user. Yeah. Also, when turning meshes to solids, right? If you want to turn a mesh into a solid, that's a limitation. But also, it's awful in Fusion. Meshes are just the meshes workspace in Fusion is garbage. Okay, I really wish they'd just freaking roll in. I don't understand. They actually released an update of Mesh Mixer recently. Did anybody know that? They released an update of Mesh Mixer like a month ago, like September or October. And I just wish they would take Mesh Mixer and put it into Fusion and just keep updating it. Like, Mesh Mixer worked great compared to Fusion. So, okay, back into this. Okay, so we're going to hide both of these bodies, the front and back of this, because, well, wait, I want to hide the next G real quick. Because I want to extend this face down. The next G is 0.2 millimeters away from the surface, so I'm just going to extrude 0.2 millimeters. Extrude 0.2 millimeters. That way, this should meet our next G now. Yes, okay. Now we're on the same plane. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top of this so that I can use this to cut the body. Because, I don't know if you noticed, there's some overlap in the body. This heatsink is slightly larger than a Rapido, so we got to go a little bigger with this. The outside diameter of this, I believe, is 22 millimeters. Yes, it's 22 millimeters. So, from this center point, I need to create a 22 millimeter circle, and I'm going to offset by 0.3 millimeters. That'll account for a bit of shrinkage in there, give it a little space to the heatsink. And then I'm going to each one of these there we go. Each one of these holes, I'm going to go 3 millimeter? I got to measure the screws that hold this thing in real quick, so I remember how big they are. 2.86 outside diameter. So they're 3 millimeter screws. So we'll go 3 millimeter holes. I should probably go, dang it. Finding the center of a screw thread is annoying. So realistically, I should give myself ever so slightly a bit of slop, because aligning this properly is going to be fun. So I'm going to go 3.2 millimeter. I'm just hitting C on each of these so I can generate a circle. 3.2, C, find the middle of it, 3.2. Great. Cool. Okay, now I can finish my sketch. I'm going to hide the next G, and I'm going to select this body shape here. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to bring back all of this, and I'm going to extrude. Just hit E on my keyboard, and all I'm going to do is cut a chunk out of this thing. Because all I'm trying to do right now is just clear space so this hot end will fit in here. And we'll refine from there. Great. We got our cutout done, and you can see here how close this bore is. Okay, it was the front housing. I thought it was something off there. Let's hide the back. You can see. That's how close the hot end gets. And this is why I never used the Dragon hot end previously, is it gets so darn close. Like, it's going to basically be contacting this threaded insert. 0.225 millimeter. Really close. Not ideal, but I think it's going to work because between the threaded insert and the M3 screws, I think it's going to work. I've never, Psychotic Garage. I've never tried Mesh Mixer with actual meshes. I've only used it to cut up models and helmets. Then you have tried it with actual meshes. Because if you're pulling an STL or an OBJ into Mesh Mixer and cutting it, that's a mesh. So you have. You just don't realize it. Okay, so yeah. This is going to be tight and or problematic. It is what it is. My only other option is if I lower down the Hotend. Do I do that? The other option I have here is I lower the Hotend 0.2 millimeters. Now, I already feel like the Hotend on a Stealthburner protrudes down from these ducts more than I care for. I don't really want to lower that anymore, I don't think. So, nope, we're going with it. Drop it down and extend the ducts. No, that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid. That's exactly what I'm trying to avoid. Because that's what Drop Effect does. They have a version of this. And it's heinous. Let me find it. Next G. I don't want to do that because move the holes for the two halves. Yeah, I can do that. Is there room there? Not really. One of them comes right to the edge is the problem. Reaper Toolhead? No. Reaper, I lose build volume. You lose build volume with the Reaper, don't you? Well, the bigger problem with Reaper, the biggest problem with Reaper, and why I'm probably not going to use Reaper on anything, is Reaper has to use the Reaper carriage, as far as I've been able to put together. And I don't want to use Reaper carriage. I'm using CNC carriages on everything these days, so I don't want a printed carriage. I'll just see myself out. I mean, fair suggestions, totally fair suggestions. I'm not trying to like shit on you, but these are things I have thought about. That just not what I'm going for. Okay, here, Drop Effects web page for this. So the UHF, they have a UHF STL for a Stealthburner, but it's got these wicked big ducts on it that are ridiculous. Reaper works with CNC carriages. Other toolheads like Zoll. Zoll has cooling issues. It's lightweight, but I just want to stick with a Stealthburner on my main 2.4. I like the Stealthburner. But yeah, they've got these ridiculous ducts. There's a Zoll CNC carriage. You can use the standard CNC carriage with Zoll too. You just lose like a millimeter or two of Y build volume. It protrudes the Zoll forward ever so slightly more. But yeah, they got these ridiculous ducts on this thing. Like way overkill. They went, look how much they pushed this thing down. This is a terrible design. I'm sorry whoever designed this, but this is terrible. It's way further down there than it needs to be. It's like 5 millimeters further. So, yeah. It's also a bad quality export. Like, look at those holes. Whatever. Looks the same as UHF ducts. Maybe that's what they worked on. They just went with the UHF duct and said, okay, I'm going to stick with those dimensions, which, why not gain some more Z-axis build volume? I'd move the holes for the two halves slightly. Let's give that a look. That is the best idea so far. So let's look at that. Let us look at that. So, I'm going to hide this real quick. Hide the back half. So we run into issue with this getting close over here, but we can work with that. I mean, right now it's 1.39, so it's 3 extrusion widths away from the wall right now. I'm going to... I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to see how far this is from the top. Let's measure it to the top so I know where it is. 3.776 millimeter to the top. It can go up and it can go out ever so slightly. And I think you're right, Nura. I think that's going to be our best bet. So delete that. Let's create a sketch on this face. So I'm going to just create some sketch lines so I know where this corner is. I hit X on my keyboard to change to a sketch line. And now we've got like that corner there. We have an idea of where that corner is. Anzi, if Zal has cooling problems, why are people switching from SB? Okay, Zal has cooling problems compared to other toolheads like Reaper or A4T. It's better in Stealthburner because if you get some screaming 4010 fans. Hotend cooling, you've only got the 2510 fan, so yes, questionable, especially on this where there were some early heat creep issues. I want to stick with a 40mm fan. As much as anything, I like the way the Stealthburner looks. I really, really do. And I just want to keep this machine on a Stealthburner. My Trident has Zal. I have another machine that's getting A4T soon. I'm going to build another 2.4, which will probably be Stealthburner, and maybe we'll migrate this one to Reaper or something after I build another 2.4. But for right now, I just want to keep this on a Stealthburner. I love how it hides the cable. It's such a clean look overall. Also, the tool board that I have is a Stealthburner specific tool board. So, okay. So, I'm going to come, where do I want to put this? I'm going to come 45 off. No, that's not going to work. I'm going to highlight these two corners here, and I'm going to use the offset tool to create a negative 0.9 and a, nope. Yeah, just fucking, no. Damn it, I hate when it does that. I hate that you can't, sometimes it makes it difficult to just select one line and do an offset. Okay. Now I'm going to create a circle here just to give myself a bounding box. So now I'm at least 2 extrusion widths, 0.9 millimeters, 2 extrusion widths at 0.45 millimeter extrusion width, which is what I usually do. Excuse me. So we are 2 extrusion widths away. You know, I want to make this cam a little bit bigger. Nope, wait, sorry. Not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do. Not what I wanted to do. I'm just trying to make my camera in the corner just a little bit bigger, so you folks can see me a little bigger. Well, I just got me a NextG after you said it gets more flow than a Rapido. Found the UHF mount to be overly long too. Thanks for improving it. Daredockel, hopefully by the end of this we'll have, well, probably not by the end of this stream, but soon I will have a NextG mount available for you. So, SB looks cool, but I hate working on it. I've worked on it so much I'm used to it. And you're going to release this so you don't have to. Yes, I will be releasing this. Daredockel, thank you so much for the super chat. You're paying for the mount. So I will be releasing this, absolutely. That's why I'm making this mount. I've got the beta unit. I don't have to make this mount. Like, I already made a mount for the beta unit. The beta unit fits perfectly within the regular Stealthburner bounds, but they didn't release the beta unit. So I want to make this mount so you folks can buy a NextG and use it if you want to, without having the limit. I don't want to lose any Z height is the problem. I already max out the Z height on my 2.4 from time to time, so I don't want to lose any. One day we're going to make a Voron with a positron hot end just as a troll. If I make a V0, I'll do that. I mean, you could Bowden it. We should look at that, Nomad. That's a interesting idea, if nothing else. Okay, I'm gonna come 45 off this corner and see where we're at. No, wait, I'm gonna go 45 off this corner to this circle. And then I'm gonna come 45, go up from there. That'll give me a why did you do that? You're gonna turn a Voron upside down? Maybe. Wouldn't be the first to do it. Okay. So that's kind of giving me a location. I'm going to check this, the center of this line now. Go 4.75 millimeter, no, 4.7. 4.7 millimeter. See, I could be a little tighter in and still be plenty far from this corner. Let's see how that ends up. Measure from this corner to that circle. 1.2 millimeter. I like that. I like that. Okay. I'm really liking the last few videos when you drop into CAD and can see the real world usage with normal dude. Awesome, because the next video I have coming out today, I do that again. So, okay, the 10 file max has never been a hindrance to me. Yeah, it would be a hindrance to me. That said, like, I mean, this is my folder structure in one section of Fusion, you know, like looking to the left here. These are just models that I have and individual, like, but this is my business, you know. Designing parts is a big part of my business. So, okay, we've got that. Thank you, Nura. This was a solid idea. I got Fusion for 3 years for 150 bucks. Ugh, envious, envious. Okay, here's a gripe about Fusion. My biggest gripe about Fusion is paying for it, but it's not that I have to pay for it. I'm okay with that. Startup license, that makes sense. I'm okay with paying for it. My problem with Fusion, and it's coming up probably, I think it's either January or February, my license renews. It's that when my license renews, they're going to charge me $600-700. So when I go to renew for another year, it'll be $600 or $700. But I said I pay $400. What I do is I cancel my membership and I sign up for a new one, because when you sign up as a new member, it's $400. They give you this killer deal, like sign up $400 for $395, maybe $450, whatever. I, as a renewing repeat customer, am charged more than somebody coming in as a new customer. I know that's extremely common for so many companies. Cable companies do that, you know, cell phones, whatever. But it's frustrating because all I have to do is cancel my membership, wait a day, and start it again. Just make a new LLC and get a startup license. I already have a new LLC. I just never got a startup license for it. And LLC, starting an LLC is a whole tax burden in itself. So, if you're an educator, student, or a veteran, it can be previous year's SolidWorks for $25, full boat, everything. That's cool, critter. I'd have to learn a whole new software, but I know it's similar, but yeah. Okay, back to rant aside. So it's just dumb. I mean, all I have to do is just cancel each year. No royalty discount. Ugh, does the Pope not get a discount? Okay, now I'm gonna highlight that circle that I just created for the heat insert, and I'm gonna go 1.2 millimeters out from it. Now I'm gonna go 1.35. 1.35, that's 3 extrusion widths. And now I'm gonna have to bump into the cable management area a little bit with this, but that's still the best trade-off we got. That's still the best trade-off we've had here. Okay, so I wanna check from this wall to this wall is 22.6 millimeters. The reason I'm gonna do that is I've only created a sketch on this face over here, but I need to put a hole over here. Rather than going through all the trouble of measuring like we just did over here, all I'm gonna do is go from this corner. I'm gonna create a line. I hit L on my keyboard to create a line, come straight over 22.6 millimeter. Now we're all the way to that hole, or to that wall over there. Now I can go to the middle of this body, draw a line up at 90 degrees, and now I can just highlight that circle, use the mirror tool, select that center line, and boom. There is our heat insert hole at the exact same place on the other side. Why not go straight up with both holes? What do you mean straight up? Like, yeah, there is meat here, but the wider stance of this, I I like the wider stance of it a little bit better to sandwich it and hold things a little bit wider footprint and away from these screw holes. Does that make sense? Oh, you know what? I need to make one thing I didn't think about. I need to make a 3.2 millimeter hole in the middle of this. And I will also mirror that to the other side too. Because that's going to be our screw hole on the other end. Okay, finish sketch. Let that sketch finish out. Now I can delete this one. Now I can select those. Is this an XG? I was thinking of getting one over the Rapido. Thoughts on performance? With the UHF adapter, which this has on it, that's why we're doing this. It performs better than a Rapido non-UHF. Actually, I think it performs better than the Rapido UHF as well. In my experience, I've been running a Drop Effect NextG for close to a year, I want to say. And I've found that it performs better than the Rapido in every way. And it's smaller. Okay, so now we can extrude negative 4.4. I'm going to go negative 4.8 millimeters. That's kind of how far. I like to inset heat inserts into the plastic a little bit so they have the plastic above the hole to keep them from pulling out. Now I need to bring that sketch back so I can extrude this down. I'm just going to extrude this down. Boop. To add it to, I have to join, and now I've got the meat I need aside of that. So yes, this is the NextG, and yes, I quite like the performance of it personally. Okay. Now, we can hide this front body. I'm going to bring back the back body, and I'm going to get rid of these holes because we need to reposition these as well now. Ooh, I might see an issue we have incoming. We'll find out in a second. I'm wondering if we're going to get a little close to this mounting hole up here. Forgot about that. Delete that. Same thing over here. Just highlighting as much of these faces as I can quick. So I've got them selected and ready and delete. Okay, now our mounting screw holes are gone. Have you built a switch wire by chance? I've never built a switch wire, no. I've never built a switch wire. Now I can go back to those 3.2 millimeter holes on the sketch and extrude. Ah, that's okay. All right, I can hide that sketch. Now we need to work on this back. Now here, what we need to do, you know what? I want to bring that sketch back real quick. I can see an issue here. This hole is a little close to this face. So I'm going to extrude this into there so that that little bump out we created now is matched on both faces, front and back. See? And we'll tweak on that. I'll tweak on that a little bit. I might not get to it on the stream today, but I will smooth this out a little bit. Like I will probably, fillet it a little. I might bring it in like 0.1 millimeter or something just to maximize this. I will also personally, I will probably thin this wall out here a little bit because it's thicker than it needs to be. So that 2.4 millimeter, yeah. So that can thin out, negative 0.2, negative 0.4. I gotta get a little funky with that. So I can thin that wall out a little bit to gain back some of the cable room we're losing by having this run through here. But that's not what we're focusing on right now. Right now, what I need to focus on is adding back our holes for our screws. We got 3.2 millimeter holes here, so our screws can go in, but no place for the head to be. So I'm going to create a sketch on this face now. And now I can create a 6 millimeter circle around this for the head of the screw that's going to go around this. Now I'm going to create a bridging structure so we don't need supports in this hole. This is the way the Voron standard design. Let's hide this real quick. We're going to make this, hide the sketch, this stepping here that bridges and makes it so you don't need supports in a hole. I do this all the time. Absolutely something I robbed learning from the Voron team, and I use it in so many designs. Okay, now I've got let's use the construction line. I'm gonna go right 90 degrees. Make sure I'm at 90 degrees to the center line. Now I'm gonna up 90 degrees. Lock that to 90, boom. Okay, now what I will do is I'll go from that point, the 90 degree point on the inner circle, and I'll go 90 degrees out to the wall. So now I've got one line there, and now I'm gonna go same thing off this one, but this one I'm only gonna go to that line. So now, see how I created these two lines here? This is all I do when I make these. All I do is draw these two lines, then I hit X to make them into solid lines, not construction lines. And then I will mirror those two lines off of this one. And then I will select those 4 lines that I've just made, mirror those off of this one. And boom, we have everything we need to create that bridging structure. Now I'm gonna draw from the center line of one circle to the center line of the other one. Mark my center line, and now highlight all that. Highlight all of this. I'm holding down Shift this entire time. For some reason my keyboard thing isn't showing that. Works so well. And now I just create a mirror image over here. Finish sketch. So I'm going to select those outer. I usually start from the lowest point and work my way through. So I will go down 4 millimeters to start. Let's go 5 millimeters to start. -5. Now I have to bring back the sketch, annoyingly. You're making me pick up Fusion again. Thank you so much for the super chat, Radke Makes. Sorry to be a bad influence, I guess. But you're welcome at the same time. And thank you for the super chat. So now I'm going to select those other two. Now I went down 5 millimeters. You know what? I'm going to check the other one, see how deep the holes are. How deep is this? I'm going to use the I for inspect tool. How deep? 4.1 millimeters. Okay, well that's bad. I'm gonna hide that. Shame on you, Voron team. That's not layer height. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this back up 0.8 millimeter. So now I can highlight these two, and I'm going to extrude them down -4.4. -4.4. Now that's a 0.2 millimeter step off of the first one, which is 4.2 millimeter deep. And now these inner 4 circle triangle bits here will extrude down another 0.2 millimeter step, -4.6. And now we have created this bridging step structure. Let me real quick, for anybody who's not familiar with what that is, oh, here is the design that is printing on the XL right now. Little preview for you folks. This is what's printing on the XL right now. Anybody have a guess what this is? Why are you changing a tool head? I want to run a Hotend that is not supported by the standard Stealthburner. I want to run the well, it is Fadus brand, but also Drop Effect. Drop Effect is owned by Fadus. The Drop Effect Next G Hotend I find to be a very compact and high-flowing Hotend, and I want to run it. So I'm making one. It's a large hexagon. Great. You nailed it, Dark Third Dimension. Nailed it. So that's what's printing on the XL. But actually, I can demonstrate what I was talking about. What we just created, the geometry we just created, is in this design. I used it in this design. So what we just created looks like skirt inserts for lights. Yeah, but remember, this is a 360 bed. Okay, so as the print comes up, where is it? There it is. it'll bridge. So I designed in this bridge structure here. So we get a cross line there. Now, 1, 2, I went 2 steps here. Now I did another cross line here. And so when this infills, when this whole thing fills in, it doesn't have to bridge nearly as far to do so. It's got a lot to build on top of. So I did the same thing out at these edges, but these actually built-in supports too. So there's built-in supports in this design that I made, and then it bridges, and then there's less bridging structure that it has to work with. But let me open up the Stealthburner part so you can see what I'm talking about. Wow. Diffuser lights for the studio. Nope. Good guess. Nope. Cat litter grill. Nope. Video's coming today. You will see it today. So, okay. Back into this. So there will be an entire video about what it is I'm making there. It was inspired by Prussia, actually. But, okay, so now we have our hardware in here. We've got our hardware locations. Thank you so much, Nori, for the idea to relocate those holes. That's great. We've got clearance inside of here for the hot end. I want to look at the fan position. So I'm not going to get to it in this stream. How much longer we got? We got half an hour left. I'm not going to get to it in this stream, but something I will be doing in this is you see how the fan opening kind of blows underneath the heatsink here? It blows underneath the heatsink here. I will create a little ramp so that it doesn't do that. I want it to only have the fan blow across or through the heatsink, not under it, because under it could cause cooling issues on the heat break, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna ramp this, like this little ramp that kind of is here. I'll build this up, but I'm not gonna get to that on stream, unfortunately. Lots of them with lights in the background to make a cool background for streams. Great idea, and I have considered doing that, but that is not what they're going to be. Looks like a mix between a Dragon and a Rapido. It kind of is a mix between a Dragon and a Rapido. You're not wrong. It is the Fadus Drop Effect Next G. Kind of is, yeah. Wait, isn't the Stealthburner, the Rapido supported on the Stealthburner, the Next G UHF has the same footprint and mount as the Rapido? Yes, but it is longer. Or not longer, it's totally, no. It has a same mount pattern, but it's a bigger body. Let me hide this and I'll show you. So here's the Next G outside. This is the Next G. Here's the Rapido. So you see how the Rapido is a smaller diameter and the heatsink is a smaller diameter. Because of that, the Next G does not fit into the same space. It just doesn't. Which actually the Next G is actually 0.2 millimeters shorter than the Rapido. So yeah, it doesn't fit into the same spacing, unfortunately. Printing a HEPA filter system for the V2. I don't know about a HEPA filter. I run a HEPA filter next to the machine most of the time. I have a, I don't remember that being in there. I have a HEPA filter that runs next to it, and I have a Nevermore inside of a chamber. So, okay. Now we need the holes for the mount. I think that's probably all we're going to get done in the stream. At least I'll get the, I mean, realistically, what I'm about to get done could be it. I'm going to go further with it as I want to refine this design more, but for right now, let's get this worked out. Okay, our first sketch, we created these holes for the hot end. I'm going to select all of those and extrude, then I'll select both the front and the back housing and just extrude up. Ever switching to beacon? Yes, we are switching to beacon in this build. It's right here on my desk. So yes, I am switching to beacon during this rebuild. Man, this one gets really close to that hole. I do not like that. Gah. I feel like I should rotate this. How close is that? 0.4 millimeters. That's a 2 layer height. 2 layers. I think we need to rotate that. I think it just has to. I can rotate this. All right, let's hide this. Undo that. Great, okay. Top. Now I'm gonna move this hot end and we're gonna rotate 5 degrees. Yeah, I still need a hole for the screw head, and the screw head are actually chamfered holes on this. They're chamfered screw heads. So, yeah. Okay, that's looking at it from the bottom so we can see our space in here. Now our wires are going to double back this way, which is fine. Can we go -12? -15? You know what? I think that'll work. -15. I think that works. So our wires are still going to double back. Honestly, if anything, this might even be a little bit better because the wires aren't coming straight forward to the housing. They get to kind of more gingerly turn here to make it to this opening over here, because this is the opening where the wires pass through. So we're going to loop back to there. Can you not rotate the wiring at all? Radkey, we landed on this as the best because I've run this previously, and where I used to have the wiring was back here in this corner, but it's just such a harsh angle on the wiring. I can rotate it a little bit. I can reposition it a little bit, but this is the least stress on the wiring. It's what we've landed on for this. So I think that's good, and I think it's as good as we're getting. Yeah, this was Steve Build's design. He was in stream earlier and gave us this suggestion, and I think it's a best way that we've got. Okay, let's create a new sketch on the top of this so we can get that new hole location. And now I'll look at this from an angle so I can see where the center of this hole is. Sometimes Fusion just hates to find the center of a hole. There it is. There it is. 3.2 millimeter. There it is. 3.2 millimeter. I'm going a little bigger than I need to in these holes because finding the center of a screw hole like this is not ideal. So I need ever so slightly a bit of misgiving. Did you not rotate the hot end in relation to the heat break when you loosened that nut and spun? My OCD says make the holes parallel to split. No, there are only 3 clocking locations that you can do. It's kind of fixed. The heat block has pins on it that locate it like a dragon. They're not the same. They don't lock in. They're actually kinematic mounted. So the heat block is kinematic mounted, so it has some. When it expands and contracts, it's not restrained on this design, which is something I like. I don't know how much of a difference it really makes, but I do like it. But because of it, I only have 3 clocking locations that I can go to. And unfortunately, none of them are necessarily ideal. Kind of just how it is. Let's take one more look at it and quadruple check that I can't go a different way with this. Let me come back to the workbench here. So let's pull this back off of here and take one more look at it. Yeah. So, drop the screw. I mean, when I had this in here, I had it mounted at an angle previously. In my previous design, it just had to be that way. So, and loosen up this heatsink again. And then loosen up that block. Yeah, this nut loosens up the collar. Let me see if we can see this in here. I don't know if you can tell. Focus is a little off. Let me see if I can digital zoom here. So, see how this has 3, where's the focus point? It's like here. Zoom, let me focus a little. Okay. This has 3 recesses on it. There are 3 associated screw heads on here. All this does is sit on those, and that's all it does. So like if I turn it hard enough, I can ramp off of those. You can't do it once it's assembled with that nut, but because of that, it's only got 3 clocking locations it can go into. And like none of them are really lined up with a straight orientation, unfortunately. Kind of just how it lands on this. Maybe this one. Oof, but I'm not going to be able to put a screw in. This one, this orientation lines up the plate with the thermistor and the... Let's put the nut back on and just check this one. I don't think this one's going to work, but let's check. Not too tight, ouch. Well, in this instance, I want it fairly tight. I want it fairly tight in this instance, so, okay. Now the heat break, I'm definitely not wrenching on. But, okay, now let's put it back in the heatsink and see what our orientation looks like. Now that one I'm gonna have to install with a ball hex because I'm just not gonna get to it with the screwdriver now. Ah, stainless screw. I will Loctite these screws on final assembly, but for right now, well, I can look at what the rotation looks like now. Boy, that's as close as we're getting. Yeah, no, you're right, that's the best one. Now my screws will be almost, not quite, but almost even. So that's the one. That's the one. It does mean that installing this screw back in here requires a ball hex, but you could remove the heater and the thermistor. You're right, could. I'm not gonna, but I could. Maybe I will for final assembly, but I grab a ball hex. It's a 1.5 millimeter ball hex. Actually, I think it might be like 1.7 or 1.8 millimeter on this screw. Can I get between these? I can almost get between these. I actually have to remove the thermistor. I actually have to remove the thermistor. Nope. Neura's right again. Again. Okay. Now, I can tighten that. Cool. I'm going to leave it out for now. I'm going to leave the thermistor out for now because I'm going to put it back in with some heat, with some thermal compound for one, but also I'm going to take these screws back out and Loctite them before I'm done. So, all right, fit the screen. Okay, so good call, Brian, on reclocking it. So I hadn't tried that orientation. Thank you. Okay, which means, screw the sketch. Let's go back. Now, top view, grab this, and I can rotate it like that. These wires are not representative of the clocking we currently have. I'll see if I can correct that in a second. I think I can. All right. Let me correct that. Go into Hotends. Because you see this chain link on this model here? Because I inserted this component, it's linked to another design. And as such, I can edit the other design and affect what's happening here, but not screw things up. That is the best way to explain it. That's a bad way of explaining it, but okay. Okay, I'm gonna rotate this part. Nope. Let's hide this. top. I want to rotate. Dang it. This model is like not designed 100% accurately, as many of these generally are. Okay. Now the orientation that we landed on is right around like that. Or is it? Oh, it's the other way around. 180 degrees. Let's look. Yep, there it is. So you can see how the screws kind of act to locate this, which means it is a tool-free design for nozzle changes. You don't need to hold the heater block when doing nozzle changes, because these screws locate it strongly enough that it's in good position. Okay, now I can bring back the other bodies, and I can rotate this heatsink to match that. Look at it from the bottom perspective so I can see through that hole. There we go. I don't feel like moving these screws, so I'm not going to, but I am going to save this where it is. Now when I save this here, because I am modifying it here, you can see there's an exclamation point now on this body. If I right click on it and get latest version, it'll rotate. It'll update what we just did. Now I need to re-rotate this in position. Move, components. Now I'll move this component. That looks like what we're going for. It also looks like it moved because I repositioned it. Damn it. Okay, I need to, well, yeah, no, I need to align this. Align. Damn it, hide this back body. Hide this. Align it to this bore. Boop, there we go. Now I have to rotate it again. Fusion. I hate when you align things, Fusion kind of like randomly picks an orientation sometimes. Okay, now our wires are heading straight forward. Wait, when did you add the keyboard overlay? I did a while ago, but it only, Nomad, it only does like control, shift, and drag, and like mouse clicks. That's all it does. So when I'm pressing like right now, F, to open the fillet tool, it doesn't work for that. It only works for a couple of things. I did that before you joined. Okay, so now our clocking looks like it's way better. Thank you for encouraging me to do that. Because now our holes are much further away from this face, such a better position. Did you disable click drag in Fusion? I have not. I really need to because I often accidentally drag things. I wish when you cancel it keeps your selection selected instead of starting over. Yeah. Yes, that would be a nice thing. Okay. Now we can create a sketch on this face. Capture position, hide this body, and now we can work with this. Where's the center of my hole? Ugh. Hate when this happens. There it is. Okay, 3.2 millimeter. It ruined a whole stream for me. Oh, I've had it ruin my day a handful of times. I really need to do that because I rarely use click to drag. I'm always working off coordinates or like, you know, parameters. Okay. Yeah, I do agree. I wish that canceling didn't totally eliminate what you're doing. You have to start over sometimes, but yeah. Okay, now we have our 3.2 millimeter holes. I'll select all of those. And bring back both of these housing halves. Boom. Great. We've got our holes in there, but now we can't fit a screw head. The screws that come with the next G are countersunk. So what I'm going to do, they are countersunk, let me measure them. 8 millimeters. 8 millimeter M3 countersunk screws. So I'm going to go up to the insert menu. Insert McMaster car component. One of the best damn things in Fusion. Screws and bolts. And now I can just go through McMaster car, find an M3 countersunk screw, metric, find my 8 millimeter long one. It's this one. I can select it has CAD models in McMaster car. So I can go down here to the 3D step file, download. You know what? I want the one with no threads. Download. And there's one with threads and there's one without threads. I want the one without threads at the moment, but okay. Now I will use the align function on this screw. Boop. Use its center, its bore, and align that. Now it's aligned to that hole. Now I will come to the side view of this thing. Actually, I'm going to use the move tool. I'm just going to select this screw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it from a side perspective and make sure it's engaged into this heatsink threading the way I need it to, or where I need it to. -9 looks like about right. -9.2. I want it engaged into that heatsink thoroughly. Yeah, -9.4 looks like where I want it. Okay. Now that screw's there. Now, that's only so helpful. What I'm going to do now is hide this back face, create a sketch on the face of this thing, capture position. I'm going to, what's the diameter of this? 6 millimeter. I'm going to create a offset on this, 0.2 millimeter offset. So it has a little bit of room, a little bit of give to it. Sweet sounds of the XL in the background. Yes, there are. And I'm also going to make a teardrop in this. So I'm going to come from the center line and I'm going to come up to construction line, come up to 90 degrees to the surface of this circle. And now from there, I'm going to go up 0.4 millimeter. And then off of that line, I look for the tangent. And Fusion's doing that thing right now where it refuses to show the tangent. I think it showed up in there somewhere. It's close to the circle, but it keeps highlighting. Okay, I recently, only this week, discovered a new thing in Fusion. Not new, it's not new, it's new to me. I discovered how to do tangents properly. So much easier. I like doing this where I slide along a circle and it'll find the tangent. If anybody doesn't know what a tangent is, that's the point at which the line will intersect the circle. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw this line out into nowhere. So this line is just out here doing its own thing, right? Nowhere near this circle. I'm gonna select it, and I'm gonna come up here to the tangent tool, and now I select the circle that I want. Damn it, it failed to resolve because I went to this line out here. Okay, let's try that again. Line, create this line. I'm just gonna go out here, not attached to anything. Bam. Now I select that line, tangent tool, and select the circle. Why is it failing? What the hell? I've literally done this a dozen times this week, and of course when I show you folks, it doesn't work. Yeah, it refuses to work. Weird. So what it's supposed to do is snap to the circle and show me where the tangent line is. I'm gonna get close to it. Maybe that's the problem. Do you have snap on? I do. Let's try again. There it goes. I just had to get close to it. You're in the other circle. That's the problem. It's because all these other circles that are appearing. Okay, when I got close to the circle, then use the tangent tool. Bam, it snapped to it. Okay, now I've got my circle, my line to the tangent. Create a mirror line. And now I can select all of this. Auto perpendicular constraints. Yeah, it's projecting all the other geometries onto there, which can be really handy, but sometimes it really gets in your way too. Okay, let's bring back this back housing section. Extrude up. And now we have space for our screw to be put in, but our screw is still embedded in plastic because we came off the face of that. So I'm going to use the combine tool, select the body that I'm working with. I want the cut function, and I'm going to select this screw. Keep the tool. I want to select keep tool in here. And now I just use that screw, which is the whole reason I brought the screw in, was so I could use it to create the taper that I need. Now I can delete these edges. And when I bring the screw back, we have a seat for that countersunk screw to sit in. And there we are. I just need to do that for all the other holes, which you can see they're not 100%, like this hole is up ever so slightly. Let's measure. This hole to this line, 4.086. This hole to this line, 4.2027. So I can't mirror this geometry over to this one. I'm going to have to do what I just did for all 4 holes, but 0.2 for tolerance. Yeah, it'll be a tight fit, but honestly, at least on my printers with the filaments that I use, that should be fine. It might, like the screw might rub the hole a little bit when it goes in. Budget Loctite. I might open that up a little bit. I could hit Q, negative 0.1. Okay, now it's 0.3. Should be 6.6, yep. So, ooh. But doing that screwed up this hole, this line over here. Oh, actually this line is not tangent. So here's what happens when this isn't tangent. Why did that happen? How could it be tangent on one side and not the other? Let's go back to the sketch. Edit sketch. I'm gonna delete this line because for what? Oh yeah, look at that. Somehow we ended up off center. That's so strange. How can this mirror be in the wrong position? I don't know. But I'm gonna lose that. I'm just gonna make a new tangent line for this. Get close to it. Tangent tool. Boop, boop. There we go. Okay, finish sketch. I don't know why that happened, but here we are. Now, we should be good. Now we should be good. For this part, it might not matter. Yeah, for something like this, I want the fit to be as tight, pretty tight, but yeah, rogue line. Yep, line went rogue. So, all right, I'm gonna do that 4 more times, and realistically, I'm gonna do more to this. I'm definitely gonna do more to this. This is not done, but it's as done as we're gonna get on stream. All the rest of what I'm gonna do is super fiddly nonsense, and most of it's gonna be me modifying the Stealthburner in ways that I like to modify the Stealthburner. No offense to the Voron team, but I don't like some of the stuff they do with it. Like this chamfer off the bed here is a 45 degree. I've said it before, I like 60 degree-ish chamfers. I do like 0.4 by 0.8, not 0.4 chamfer. Also, they have this geometry in here, this whole thing that's supposed to make the screw mounting easier inside of this body. I don't care for it. I get rid of it. But the other things I will do is I'll probably move this bar location. I'll line this up with this part of the heatsink so it's a little more properly aligned. And as I said earlier, I'm going to create a ramp for the fan so that air is ducted up into the heatsink only. So it's such a problem, it almost makes me drop a hole. Ha 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 ha. So yep, most of these changes I will yet make are minor, but I will make a few more changes. Could you use a rectangular pattern to repeat the faces of the hole? You know what I could? No. I I could use a circular pattern, probably. I don't think it's going to work the way I want, but let's give it a try. Create, pattern, circular pattern. Let's hide this body and select this as my axis. So the heatsink is my axis. But there's the problem. See, the teardrops don't line up. They do their own thing. But they'll at least give me the holes. That was a good idea. Yeah. Joe Show, that was a pretty good idea, actually. Yeah. So at least my holes will be in the right position now. The teardrops won't, but if I do this, boop. So like the teardrop is wonky, but I can delete the teardrop and then I can just redo the teardrops. Rotate the drops after. I don't know if you can rotate this geometry. I have to rotate these 3 faces to do that. You cannot rotate holes in Fusion. I'm not aware of how. If anybody has a... Oh, well, no, I can rotate those, but I can't. I have to rotate them around this geometry is the problem. Miguel, welcome in. Maybe you can use linear pattern in 2 axes. The problem, Miguel, is that these holes aren't symmetrical. So this hole is slightly lower than this hole. That's why we went around a circular pattern. Reset the center after selection. Yeah. So boop, boop. Move, copy. That just highlighted way too much. Oh, it did the whole body. I want faces. Boop, boop, boop. Let's... Damn it. Keeps unselecting. Move, copy. Move type, set pivot. Yeah, okay. Now that'll work. You're right. 90 degrees to the right. Maybe it'll work. Should have worked. Yeah, it's not working. Yeah, for some reason it's not. It's like, nah, you can't do that now. It's okay. I can easily recreate this geometry. Except the pivot first. Boop. Set pivot. Done. Oh, okay. I'd never done that. Thank you. Learned something new. Okay, that did it. You can make a sketch for the axis. I could. Let's try this again. For some reason it didn't create the geometry on the other 2. On the other side. Circular pattern. Around this axis. 4. Why did it not work on this one? Because it's a separate body? Probably. What's the teardrop for? The teardrop is because this is print orientation. So, well, let me pull it in. Let's take a look in Slicer real quick, and I will show you what it does. I probably don't have this body in here, but let's see if I do. 3D printing. Voron 2.4, SB, STLs, Stealthburner, printheads, Revo Micro, whatever. Rear. Boom. Okay. Ah, damn it! It's a Revo with the flange mount, not flange mount. Rapido V2. Rear. Okay. So if you don't have a teardrop, you get this bridging at the top of the circle, which can interfere with the hole. So I do have this. Yeah, okay. That can interfere with the hole. And so let me go back to this. Let's export this body real quick. Save as mesh. Export. Go into that same folder so I can grab it quick. I'm going to drop it in there. Lose that. Now, when there's a teardrop, like we just created, and I'm going to have to reorient this quick because I haven't oriented it yet. Slice. When there's a teardrop, Well, it still has a bit of that bridging because I didn't go with a hard teardrop. I could have gone steeper with the teardrop, but the bridging is away from the bore of the hole a little better. So let me see if I can steepen that just a hair. 0.2 millimeter. Q minus 0.2, minus 0.1. That's not changing the angle. All right. I have to go back to the sketch to change that. But it creates a relief, yeah. So where the bridging occurs, which if you do it steep enough of an angle of a teardrop, you don't get any bridging. But where the bridging occurs in this instance will be away from the hole enough that it won't interfere with the head of the screw. So it just makes it more printable. It's one of those things we can do to improve the printability of a design to be more functional on a 3D printer. It's designing for 3D printing versus just designing. Don't get me wrong, the circle works. I mean, clearly the Voron team doesn't bother to teardrop a lot of their holes. I do, but that's my call. But here's something I can show you. Here's what I don't like. That geometry down here that they have inside of here, they've got this whole like thing that's supposed to make the screws easier. The explanation I've got is that this whole body inside of here is meant to make the lower screws of a Stealthburner easier to install and remove. I delete all of this. I get rid of this and I make this solid. I don't care for this because it makes this wall very thin. And at least one of these, yeah, see there's a hole right there. It creates funky geometry bits that I just don't care for. So I get rid of that and I make that all solid. It's one of the tweaks I make to a Stealthburner. I'll also open up the cable guide area. So that's as far as we're going to get on this stream, folks. We've got this. There's space inside of here now for this, so it can be mounted. Steve had the excellent idea of facing the wiring forward. We were able to reclock it. Thank you. I forget, sorry, name is slipping me who suggested that I reclock that, but that worked. So I'm going to tweak on this. Next stream, we will get this installed on the build, and I will get this file released. So if anybody wants to use a NextG on their Stealthburner build, Stealthburner equipped build, they can. And you're not going to lose Z height. That's the biggest thing. The drop effect has a Stealthburner housing that will accept the drop effect NextG with the UHF adapter. But you lose Z height because it uses the UHF ducts. This one won't. Beef Ingot, I find the extra nice concessions for 3D printing slow down the design process. I find the extra concessions for 3D printing slow down the design process to the point that the minor advantage with things like teardrops means less progress, but at the end, once the thing works, that's a nicety time. Understandable. And yeah, those are things I will often go back and do later, though when I'm making holes, it's easy enough to do. It's something I've done so much at this point that I can kind of do it as quickly, almost as quickly as I can. It took a lot longer here because I'm explaining it while I'm doing it, but I design within constraints of 3D printing so much that it's second nature to me. So for me, not a big deal. I understand that point, and especially if you're prototyping something. If I was prototyping, I'd be a little less stringent about it. But I've used this before. I've used this design before. I'm just making a release version, effectively, of this particular one for you folks. And also, honestly, I never even said that in the stream. The reason we just did this is because I wanted to stream today, because I want to stick to my stream schedule, but I didn't get this design done ahead of time, or else I would have had this printed and just shown you it, and we would have assembled it on the build, which is what I wanted to do this morning, but I didn't have time. So, is what it is. We got, hopefully some folks learned something. You folks taught me a couple of things in here too. I am always learning. I am no Fusion expert. I think that's why I'm able to teach Fusion in the way that I am, is I'm not an expert. So like, I just fumble my way through and show you folks some things that work for me. You know, if they work for you, great. If they don't, okay. But I'm just showing you how I do things. I'm self-taught. This is kind of just what I do. So, updates on the Voron build. I don't know when we're going to get to the Voron build at this point. I'm hoping soon, but I don't know. I've got to get this machine back up and running. I didn't mention it on stream yet, but a package arrived yesterday. For anybody who hasn't seen me post about it on Twitter or wherever, a package arrived yesterday, which will probably take precedent over the where is it? Where is it? It's probably in my 3D models folder. I have a separate 3D models folder. A package arrived yesterday, so I've been looking at moving to water-cooled hot ends. Yeah, I am considering that for an upcoming build. Not this one that I'm about to show you, but I am considering that for a future build. My heated chamber Voron 2.4, I want to do a water-cooled hot end because I'm going to be water cooling the stepper motors on it, so might as well water-cool hot end. Error. Will there be a Nori Studio pen build stream? That's a cute idea. Maybe we can do that. We can run some prints on the rat rig maybe, and maybe we can do prints on the rat rig and build Nori's enclosure, her pen. We can enclose the rat rig and enclose Nori at the same time. That could be her pen, the rat rig. I mean, it's big enough. She'll have plenty of room in there. Yeah, this arrived yesterday. The kit for this anyway. The kit for this at least arrived yesterday. So don't know when we're going to get to this one. Sometime in the new year, but definitely going to get to this one. A 235 VZ bot. Yep. 235 VZ bot mellow kit showed up yesterday. So that will be happening. Rat rig pen comes with a heated bed. You're right, comfy. So I got a jet, folks. I've got to literally take Selena to the airport. So I got to go. But thank you for hanging out with me for this design time. I will be releasing this design once it's confirmed working. So we addressed a lot of the issues in this stream, so I don't think it's going to be long. Maybe yet today I'll get to spend a little time. I got to go finish the video today. Too. I have a video coming out yet today. I've got to go finish putting together the parts and finish up the last little bits of it so I can go. All right, folks. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bye-bye. That's the wrong screen.